My name is Nikki Trice. I'm well known as Nikki. I'm the front desk receptionist here at Hiscock Legal Aid Society. But before I was the receptionist here, I was a client in the early year 2000. I decided to leave my abuser after a 10-year relationship of abuse. That was a very difficult time and period of my life. And the decision was made because I just couldn't take anymore, much like most of our clients. Uh, I went to a Vera House shelter, and when I was in the shelter, um, they helped me get away from my abuser and stay safe. The outcome of it all would be that I moved back home to where I resided here in Syracuse. Well, my abuser was not very happy with me leaving, and as a result of, me finding strength to leave him, he found other methods of being abusive, which would be to take me to court for custody of our child, which he had threatened for many years. Um, I was in this relationship from age 17 to 27. So he mostly controlled everything I did, anywhere I went, people that I interacted with. So I was terrified that he would take my child from me because I didn't have any money, and I received court papers in the mail one day. So I went to my grandparents and asked them to help assist me, which they did. They didn't have much money. They obtained their funds through work. They were just regular working people, and that we went and hired an attorney. With the result of that, my attorney failed to notify me that I had court and I lost my child with a default order. Reflecting back on that day, it was the hardest day of my life when I heard the knock at the sheriff's. The sheriffs knocked at my door, and they had a piece of paper, and he's standing behind them. And then they say that, you have to give your child to your abuser. I didn't know what to do. I immediately went down to family court that day. I tried my best to fill out paperwork, which was quite difficult at the time. I didn't understand any of the terminology, what was going on. I filled the paper out, and through this all, my abuser was still abusing me. So at the time, I actually was physically abused, maybe prior to that, maybe a week ahead of that time. And my attorney at that time never told me that I could have an order of protection. So when I went in front of the judge assigned Hiscock Legal Aid Society, which it changed my whole life. The next morning, I rushed down to Hiscock Legal Aid Society, and I met with the front desk receptionist, who now is my dear friend Joan. They greeted me with a professionalism and a smile. I sat in a chair that's actually directly across from me at this time, and I waited, and I watched the attorneys come in the morning because I was there quite early. And I thought to myself, oh my, I can't afford this service. What am I going to do? Oh, he's winning. He's going to win again. I felt abused. I felt, ashamed. What type of mother loses their child? How am I going to explain this? He said this would happen. I felt like there was nowhere to turn at that time. But I met an attorney here who greeted me with a handshake and a tissue. And at that moment, I knew that it would be better than that situation was at that time, because she treated me not like a number, but as an individual, but remaining professional by shaking my hand. And when she greeted me and she brought me into her office, and then something remarkable happened that would forever change my life. She was able to take my story and put it on paper legally and legal terminology. And she said to me, "What happened to your face?" And I told her what happened. And she said, "You don't have an order of protection?" I said, "No, what's that?" It was the first time I had ever even heard of an order of protection. Even at Vera House, I was in and out so quickly, I believe that I didn't receive an order of protection. We rushed over and received an emergency order of protection. And at that time, I felt my strength beginning to gain back. I came back to the office, and she filled out another petition for custody, and we filed that one also. I believe it was either the next day. And she said to me, "Nikki, I know this is hard for you, and 3 months may seem to be a long time away because our court date was postponed out, but I'm going to be there. I'm there for you." And it was sincere because I called her like every day, knowing the time that we would have to go to court. And there was no different changes, but it was reassurance that she always provided for me. It was understanding of my situation. My emotional needs were also met by my legal needs. That had never happened for me before. And I see on a daily basis of those needs being met here for people who are not as fortunate to have funds like myself. At the time, I didn't know how vital that situation was going to be in my life. What happened after was I received full custody of my child, an order of protection which did not allow my abuser to abuse me anymore. I was able to live freely, have my own voice, to independently live, explore. And the greatest thing that I was humbly grateful for was it broke every chain of domestic violence in my immediate family. I'm a mother of 2 female children and a grandson, and they live with no domestic violence in their home. They know the right and wrongs of domestic violence. And that changed my life. Hiscock Legal Aid helped not only change my life, but it also helped change 3 other people's lives in my immediate family. That right there, to me, when people ask me what does justice for all means, it means a future. It means to have a voice. It means to be independently open to new ideals and outcomes for not just yourself, but for your family.
This is perfect. Okay. One thing I have one more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you touched on it, but I want you to elaborate just a little bit more. You were a client once.
Mm-hmm.
You sat in a particular chair. You see clients come in and day out,
yes,
who are struggling, who are probably some of them scared,
yeah,
abused. And you can connect with the clients in a way that I will never be able to because I've never been in that situation. Talk to me a little bit about the clients that come in and what you say to them. Because you touched on it with the chair, but elaborate a little bit more for me if you can.
yes. Today, being the receptionist at Hiscock Legal Aid, I'm able to pay it forward, to give back, have not only the professionalism and compassion for our clients, but to have a deeper understanding for them, because there was that one time that I actually sat in that same seat. There's a chair directly across from my desk. It's 2 chairs in. And there has been occasions where someone would come in and I would see their desperation and their need, and they would, pour out to me I would reassure them that they're going to receive help, understanding, compassion, and empowerment, because I was sitting in their same chair, literally. I told a young lady maybe 2 weeks ago, I said, it's going to be okay. That's my chair. I told her, stand up and move one seat over. And she did it. And then she sat down and I said, because you're sitting in my chair. I've been right where you are. I haven't always been on this side of the desk. And it was just like a light shined on her. She looked at me and she could see the connection that we're real people serving real people in real situations of their life. And that was amazing to me, because at that point in time, I seen that Hiscock Legal Aid is leaving a legacy. It's leaving legacies for myself, my children, and other people in my community. And that's very important, not just to me, but to Hiscock Legal Aid Society.